Where you're based, Matt? It seems like super early where you are at.
Philadelphia.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
Okay,
it's
guys,
early.
we are live. Okay, welcome, guys. Welcome for this first AMA with Big Time, DappRadar, and Unbound Nation. So, welcome, hello everybody. Hello Nico. Hello Matt. Hello Pedro. So, how this going?
it's going well
Well, good.
here.
Excited to
Doing
be
well.
here.
So, okay, yesterday evening we played Big Time. So, DappRadar, Unbound, together with Big Time professional play gamers, we played the game. We had a lot of fun. We like so much. So, we are gonna have now a in-game review, and we have two point of view from Nicola that played the game, and from Pedro that he could not play the game, so he was a viewer, so he can give us his feedback as external viewer. So Pedro, what's your of course we discussed with Matt all this, and so Pedro, what's your feedback, your feeling about the game?
Yeah, first of all, it was not of lack of disposition to play the game. It was because my PC just simply couldn't respond. It's an old PC, so yeah. Uh, I think it was very encouraging to see that you guys were having actual fun. It was not a simple game where you connect and what we are being used to for the last several months in the blockchain industry, where basically you just go out and try to search the best option to mine resources or get NFTs or something like that. It seems like you were actually immersed in the game. The missions were getting challenging as the big time player was guiding you through the dungeons and all the missions. I think it's what actually the blockchain gaming industry will eventually need, some types of games that are reminiscent also like World of Warcraft, right? It's what you see big time streaming. And what I could think about is World of Warcraft type of game, which is again encouraging and exciting to see that you guys were having fun, and also impressive to see how the game is at the alpha stage, how the lack of bugs, you were not having too much issues in that regard. So as a viewer, I would see positive signs.
Well, that's a
Okay, great.
fantastic review. Love to hear that.
Yeah.
Glad that you guys had a good time. Sorry, back to you.
Yeah, we had. Actually, I had a lot of time, so I noticed that I sucks in this game. I mean, to play yesterday, I was a little bit because I'm used to play with the gamepad, so I have to use the keyboard. So for me, it was not new, but a little bit uncomfortable. But it's just my personal feeling about this. But yeah, the guy we have fun together was cool. And what about you, Nicola? What about what do you think about the game? Do you have any feedback from the community?
Yeah, definitely. So, well, I totally agree with Pedro. It was actually like really fun, and it reminded me of the old days of World of Warcraft, Ragnarok Online, or Ultima Online, and so on, in which you actually just like play and you're sort of like amazed by all these colors and things moving, and of course, the group dynamics, not only in terms of quests but also in terms of dungeons and all the challenges that you go through. So really engaging. And I've been worked in Web3 gaming for some time. You're always a bit hesitant when you hear about the new game that has great gameplay and so on. It's going to be the next big success, and then you actually like start playing, and it's like clicking through screens, the sort of the classic play to earn games. And this is the first time, together with another game in our community, that we are playing a mortar game, which is a chess game, in which I actually felt that I was playing a game first and foremost. And that's so, I don't know, it's so fresh and so reassuring about where game developers are going in the industry. And because I think we sort of like reversed engineering the games, while we should have just followed the classic gamers perspective, and follow it as and show us the way on how to develop games that are fun first of all, and then at some point, of course, just add a layer of enablement that blockchain provides. Our community was like really enthusiastic, especially for for the Ruby passes that are going to be given out. They were all, no, I want it first, and so on. So really, really big success. And a lot of them already knew the game for a month now. They watch a lot of videos and streams. So really well done on the sort of like organic game promotion side of things. So big ups to the developers for this.
Yeah, exactly. What I like more in these in-game mechanics is the drop of NFT. So while you're playing, you can get an NFT and you can monetize your game. I think it's monetize the game. I think the most interesting thing introduced by Big Time is that it's a play and earn. It's not a play to earn. So you play with your friends, you have fun, and you're not focused on make money or looking for NFT like usual play to earn. So you just while you play, uh, the monetization, let's call it like this, it's just a feature, side feature of the game. First target is to have fun, to play together with your friends, and if you can monetize your time spent in the game and your fun, this is awesome. So very good job, Big Time. So Matt, would like to if you share a few words about this topic.
For sure. And then just for your audience who's probably curious about who I am from Big Time, I'm the guild manager and I tend to do a lot of our social media stuff. Thank you very much for having me on today. For the game, I think one of the things that Big Time does really well, but perhaps it's not that revolutionary as we tried to make a fun game.
Yeah.
And if anything, a lot of the play to earn games almost stepped away from that. And that's probably not the best in the long run. When you look at some of the really big games that are out there right now, like Red Dead Redemption or Fortnite or something like that, they have huge player bases because people really enjoy it, not just because they were making money or anything like that, unless they're professional streamers. And so we really tried to replicate that user experience where somebody's having a really fun, good time. And MMOs or multiplayer RPG type games really lend themselves to an experience where you're just in the world, in the moment, and then it just makes sense to put some of those items that you find in there on a blockchain and make them an NFT.
Great. Yeah, I think this is the future of blockchain gaming. So
Yeah.
play to earn just came in the space 1 year ago, but it looks like in blockchain like 10 years already. So which I think we'll go over the play to earn model and we'll go to the play and earn model. I think this is the only way to attract Web2 gamers. There's no because I know that Web2 gamers are a little bit scared to set up a wallet, to store their seed phrase. They don't like this. I mean, all this product. So what they're looking for is simplicity, and all those games that will bring simplicity in their model, they will win for sure. I think Big Time is one of that. It's on top. It's on top of this.
Yeah.
So, Matt, can you share with us some upcoming updates, some update about Big Time, maybe some alpha, some leaks for the next months?
I can chat a little bit about it. So I think the main thing that users can really look forward to about Big Time or coming out of the Big Time team is information on the economy. We're finalizing some graphics now and getting ready to do a big surge of information on there. I check our socials in about a month for a lot of information about how space works, what that crafting and upgrading process looks like, and then all of that built on top of the economy. So that's one thing. The other thing is in about 2 weeks, we're going to be sponsoring a tournament too. And we're looking for guilds to
Oh, great.
participate. And I posted something about it yesterday. If you want to, bring your team in, or if any other guilds are interested, we'd love to kind of get as many teams in there as possible. And then there's a $10,000 prize pool as well. So super exciting stuff.
Okay.
So basically, the
Perfect.
objective is to clear the
Okay,
dungeon.
next question for you.
Yes, that's right.
So I really like your marketplace model, and of course, as I anticipated before,
Apparently
your
the
in-game
Dungeon, since he
NFT
loves
drops.
to
How
have
you
a
get this
full
idea
inventory
of
here.
this marketplace because it's not
Problem.
focused on
And if we learn
on the
dungeon,
play
then
to earn.
you
So
will find
play
some
to
packs,
earning and
packs
monetizing is
will
not the first target
increase
of the
your
game. So
inventory.
could you explain us how did you arrive to this model? You get to this model, and what's
And
for
we
the
need
next?
to
Next
eliminate
development
fauna
of your
and
marketplace because I think it's
okay,
it's
okay.
full of diamonds in your
Sorry
model.
about this.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm a little distracted. I keep hearing the
Yeah.
background noise of the video.
Maybe
I'm
we can
not
just
sure if it's
Oh,
playing or
sorry.
something else.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
whenever
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Sorry. I was like, I'll do my best, but
Exactly.
if I start droning off in the middle there. So the marketplace, I think the best way to describe the marketplace and the model we went for is what is something that a Web2 user is familiar with seeing and using. And a big part of that is the credit card transactions. And we had to create an ecosystem where people can use cryptocurrency, can incorporate a wallet, and then also use something like a credit card, right? It's if you think about like your Web3 experience setting up a wallet, I remember my first time setting up a wallet, and it was not a pleasant experience. But with the
Yeah.
big time marketplace, if all you cared about was like, hey, I just want to be able to, maybe buy some skins or sell mine or use some, then all you got to do is have a Google account, and then you can start transacting something you have seen previously in something like CS:GO. But it's secure, it's safe. People can feel confident that buyers and sellers are real. But then also, if you're a Web3 native, you can incorporate all the things that you like there as well.
Great. Okay, so I see that I also received your email, I mean your newsletter, but I want to know more about your new project Open Loot and its opportunity for new games. I know that you are building a Web3 platform for new games. Correct me if I'm wrong. Your target is to onboard new game and to support them to be successful in blockchain space, right?
Absolutely. So openloot.com is live now. And the actual big time marketplace is going to migrate and become the open loop marketplace here probably within about 6 weeks. And it's going to be a similar user experience, but there's going to be more games that are going to be able to upload their items onto this marketplace. And the idea broadly behind open loop is that we're going to help high quality games get into Web3. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into bringing a game to market and getting it out there besides the game development. So what we've done is we found some high quality projects and we're still taking applications for more, and then we're going to help them build marketplaces, do their marketing, incorporate blockchain, balance their economies, and all that and more. And why? Because it's complicated, but the Big Time team has a ton of experience with it, not just in Big Time, but previously on the other projects that we've been a part of.
Okay, great. I think this is a very good opportunity. So, one guy asked us how to win a Ruby Pass. So, Udify, you can win a Ruby Pass today, and I want to remind want to remind our audience: don't buy any pass on secondary market. So, Matt, if you want to add anything about this, because I know that they are scams. So,
Yeah.
there are not any pass, and no any pass is sold is actually sold on secondary market, OpenSea or Binance Marketplace. So the only way to win a Ruby Pass is to watch the game stream. That's correct.
That is correct. So we did that for a couple of reasons. The Ruby Pass is something we do just for our community members, and it's basically they send us their big time username and emails, and we enable their access, similar to what people have seen previously with the game code. And it's not an NFT. It's just enabling you to get into the account. And why? Again, that's something that Web2 and Web3 gamers can see and be supportive of, and without having to go through that crypto process. There are passes available on OpenSea that are selling for a lot. I don't personally recommend them. The best way to get a Ruby Pass is to be active in our community. So whether or not that's in Discord, on our AMAs, or working closely with partners such as yourself, that's the best way to get a Ruby Pass and into Big Time right now.
Okay.
only
Perfect.
by players.
So,
So no one
Pedro,
owns
let's
our token.
move on the
Even
discussion
yeah,
sorry,
even
about
Fabrizio.
our investors
Again,
or
the
yeah,
video.
even our
okay, it's
developers.
automatic. Okay. Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Let's jump on
Perfect.
a casual discussion about blockchain gaming industry, so we can share our opinions. So you are the guy of the data guy, and so know that maybe our audience already know that we collaborate together with BGA, so Blockchain Game Alliance, in their reports. So we know a lot about current market situation. I mean, it's DappRadar, and they say that Pedro is our magician. So he knows a lot, so he can share his view about current situation.
I mean, for blockchain games as a whole, we can say that the blockchain gaming category is defying the bear market, right? Because we know how the macroeconomic situation has been challenging at least since February, where we're in Ukraine and other stuff, inflation. That has definitely hampering the entire crypto market. And then the Terra situation, of course, presented another big challenge. And yeah, it's a fact that the industry as a whole is undergoing a consolidation period. I would say the blockchain activity as a whole for the entire industry is a bit down. However, that's not the case for blockchain games. Blockchain games actually are engaging more and more people, more users, and actually represent 60% of the current blockchain activity of the entire industry. So if we compare that dominance to what we saw the previous year, it was around 33, 40%. Now blockchain games represent two-thirds of the industry, which is, again, encouraging signs to see. And going back to the narrative of play to earn and play and earn, this is, in my perspective, and agreeing also with the DappRadar colleagues, one of the most important trends to follow. How blockchain games are evolving more again from mining and only platforms where the main objective was to connect and see what earnings I could get as a player, rather than connecting in a game like Big Time and having fun. And also having the ability to earn is quite exciting. And now that you were mentioning that you were going to enable a marketplace where you were going to also enable trade for other NFTs from other projects, this is quite interesting also to review. Why? Because interoperability, and not only for blockchain games, for the entire Web3 metaverse, is one of the most relevant topics. Communities are interested to see how these interconnected platforms are going to communicate each another. So enabling this free level of communication where you can easily trade free uh, NFTs from other platforms, NFT from other games in one single marketplace. It's also interesting to see how that narrative is going to evolve. Talking about interoperability again. And finally, I think relevant for this AMA and for this discussion is talking also about virtual worlds that if we go back to November of last year when Facebook announced its rebranding to Metaverse, we saw a hype cycle where all the virtual world projects or the virtual world NFTs were starting appreciating, they're getting start real life traction, and that phased out towards February. So now I think it's a time where we are going to start seeing that movement start once again. We see big projects launching alphas, betas. You have this beautiful alpha season in Big Time. The Sandbox, another leading metaverse platform, will have alpha season. So I think these type of games that are MMORPGs, which are probably the most precise definition on a virtual world, a playing virtual world, are going to be quite in demand. Are going to experience probably another hype cycle towards end of the year or maybe start of next year.
Okay, great. So, Nico, what's your opinion about the current situation from a gamer's point of view?
Yeah, totally agree with Pedro. I also believe, and also hearing people from the community, we're sort of like in a transition phase, right? We in a way the bear market in the crypto space was a blessing in disguise, just because it sort of like cleaned up the space from just like earning first players, if we actually can call them players, to actual players who enjoy the game and are intrigued by the enablements that blockchain can provide, either it's like interoperability or ownership, right? There's also a big discussion ongoing right now. Some people say, well, ownership doesn't really relate to gamers. Some others say, well, it would be an interesting idea. So there's important discussion ongoing, but the most important thing is that I believe game devs have finally understood um, the importance of building games, and then adding sort of like the extra features to make these games, either centralized or focus on ownership of these collectibles, right? So if we want to highlight the technology behind it, we're going to talk about NFTs. But for example, in the case of Big Time, looking at what can these NFTs do within the game, it's just pure utility, right? It's actually like enhancing the experience within the game rather than like stressing the fact that you just need to you can sell them or trade them, right? It's totally up to the player, but it's really something that is conducive to the gaming experience, which I think is fundamental, and that's what we have also heard in terms of feedback from the community. So really happy where the direction is going. We definitely need more major web 2 game studios, or in any case people like the big time team who have worked in important game brands, right, to actually come in the space and place gameplay first, and then of course think how can we actually like integrate it into the whole blockchain ecosystem.
Great. So, Matt, your turn. What's your idea as a gaming studio?
I think, like on a personal perspective, when I think of the metaverse, I can't help but think of something like Ready Player One, and I think it seems almost generally expected that gamers are going to kind of lead that forefront, that charge into the metaverse, and that's exciting because I think Big Time is like one of the people doing those things. I think broadly speaking, it's very that interoperability thing is very challenging, especially because it almost incentivizes some users to leave a part of a game to take something they like in one game and combine it in another. And there's unless all the games are under one united studio, it's almost like concerning for game developers to make something that ultimately may reduce their player base. So I'm sympathetic to the challenges that are out there. Having said that, one of the upsides of something like Open Loot and Big Time is you do have these massive worlds, and so you can use one item in multiple time periods and um, create those multiple shared experiences. It's exciting to kind of see where it is in the future, but one of the foundational things of whatever that interoperability looks like, it's probably going to involve blockchain. And that's where the ownership of the assets and additionally a player's ability to create their own things are foundational to that and almost necessary steps for whatever you think the metaverse will be.
Great. Look, I was just smiling when you quote the so just when you quote the beginning. You made a Alex Becker quote about player ready one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right because I remember him because I follow Alex Becker. I know that you are in contact with them. That he quoted the movie 1 year ago, and I mean everybody seems that start to watch that game just to understand the metaverse narrative. Okay, so we have a bunch of questions from our audience. Okay. So, Udify, so it's for you, Matt. Gameplay looks super cool. I see character moves around. Can you tell about environment design?
Yeah, I think that's the second question from Dudify. So it's awesome that he's listening in so closely. Awesome. Hey, thank you for listening in. I think we got to get you a Ruby Pass. The other thing about the gameplay environment, what I think is very interesting is as the artists and the developers put together the world, they had to create an art style that was timeless because Big Time is not just set in one time period. There is a time travel element. You're going to be able to go all the way back from the time when Atlantis is around to almost a cowboys and dinosaurs themed world to something set deep into the future. And that art style needs to be able to be applicable to all of them. And additionally, you don't want it at such a high quality rate that nobody can play it. So you're aiming for a balancing act there. And I think they did a very cool job of it because right now the way the game looks is very different. You could draw some parallels to other games and be like, oh, I see some origins there and some elements of that, but they truly did come up with something unique. And I think a part of the way they came up with that uniqueness was drawing on their backgrounds, having worked at other big, successful AAA studios where they made some very iconic games. We have people who helped make Fortnite, Gears of War, League of Legends, all iconic games, and they brought that same level of creativity into Big Time.
Yeah. So one of the uniqueness of the big time game is the possibility to change the class during the game. I mean, if you start with a class, then you can change it. I mean, if you're tired with your current class, you can change it. Can you explain a little for those people that didn't watch the stream yesterday how to do it, how to change the class? They have to invest to buy the NFT to change the class, or they can do it. They can do it for free in game.
Can do it for free in game. So there are 4 starting character classes, and
Yeah.
you can pick one right off the bat, but then you can acquire the pocket watch, which is the
Mhm.
what your character is tied to pretty quickly within starting the game. And you can switch between your pocket watch or your character class pretty quickly, and you can level up each pocket watch, and then there are different tiers to them. There's still 4 character classes, but you can switch between them in battle. So you don't have to worry about making that lifelong decision within your first time starting the game, like in some other games, right? Like you can switch between them. In the future, after you start the game, you can switch between classes, which allows you to kind of build unique teams, go for a different experience. Sometimes you want to be the tank, sometimes you want to be the healer. But as we expand the game in the future and add more styles of gameplay, we can add more character classes too and accommodate that type of gameplay. Like if we wanted to have another shooter or somebody who is more magic oriented, like a wizard, we have that capability within the game to do that without really detracting from the storyline. So it goes back to some of the metaverse stuff of there's some very exciting expansions for the game that are kind of already built in there and the foundations for it.
Great. So, and also you will introduce a token, right?
There will be a token in the I think the invite only beta of the game, which we're still pretty far away from. Um,
Mhm.
but yes, it's going to be a little different than other tokens. You can only get it from in-game play. Yes, you
Mm.
will be able to withdraw it to a DEX, but it's the main purpose of it is really going to be for in-game usage and for upgrading and making your own NFTs.
Great. Okay, we have another question from our audience. Okay, I think this is for you, Matt. What is the story of this game? Hero keeps running and killing. Is he saving anybody or kind of revenge action?
Like kind
Yeah,
of Mario style.
yeah. Yeah, that's on a personal level. I think we're actually going to be able to release a little bit more on the big time or storyline here in the next few weeks. I know I'm actually chatting with the team later on today about how to release some of that information. But the broad story is that the game is set in the distant future and time is collapsing. And you have the good guys, which is the players, are part of Evermore Academy, and that's where Albert Einstein and other major historical figures come together, and they're trying to prevent time from collapsing. And the bad guys is Paradox Corporation, which their slang name is Big Time, and they're the ones who are traveling throughout time, causing it to collapse in and on itself. And that's where the time travel component comes into it as well. But all of the bad guys that you're killing throughout the game are part of Paradox Corporation or Big Time.
Okay, so we have another question. Could you discuss more on how Big Time Studios approaching in the Roverable asset standard for Metaverse?
I like this question, huh?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's not a softball question. It's a tough one. It's a great one. So I think first and foremost, we need to get to the global launch of our game. That's that kind of takes precedence over everything else. And so somewhat boringly, we are really focused on making sure the game is well balanced, it's enjoyable, and that the economy is sustainable. And then from there, we're continuing to build with other projects. I kind of go back to open loot as another really good way of incorporating more games into the open loot marketplace, which has that inter interaction with the big time items as well. You're going to be able to switch between items from War Park and big time, all in that same general marketplace area, which is exciting. Still a little bit farther down the road is that interoperability of your identity or your assets between them. But I can tell you that I think the marketplace, from a personal level, is a big step in the right direction towards that.
Okay, so we have a provocative statement I'd like to share with you and to discuss about it. It's very provocative. Not good. We want tokens to make money playing game. If you do that, I will never play the game since it's another copy-paste online game.
Wow. Okay. So
I have my
I'd
opinion
be
about this
I
statement.
disagree with some. I disagree pretty
I
strongly
disagree
with
as
that.
well.
I don't because it's not available online. So It sounds like somebody didn't get a Ruby pass. The
This is a I think this is a statement not from a gamer point of view. It's more than a investor point of view or speculator point of view. It's typical of play to earn game. Because play
Well,
and earn like big time fun is the first thing. A good game and funny game. You can play with friends, with your friends. And if you can earn money, if you can make some money, you can get NFT and sell NFT. It's just a side feature of the game. Because if you I think it's my personal opinion. If you focus too much on the tokens or to make money on top of the game and then drop the token on the market, at the end of the day, the game will be like a farm and dump game. So farm and dump mechanism, and we saw it in the last year, and it was not very successful. So that the game lasts for 2, 3 months, 4 months, and then start dropping in number of users and dropping in value of the token and of the items. This is my personal opinion. I would like to hear your opinion, guys.
I think it's a valid statement, although I'm not agree with it. It's a valid statement. Why? Because we are gamers, but there's people that is more interested in the financial aspect, or people that are going to come here because their favorite fashion brand is going to launch NFTs. So there is going to be different kind of people joining the space, and at the same time there are different options right now in the market where you basically can see a game as an investment vehicle, because this is what this guy is talking about, how a game can become an investment vehicle, and this is what we see in DeFi Kingdoms, for example, which is basically a DeFi ecosystem just with a layer of gaming underneath. So it's valid to have this, although for the sake of the entire industry and the growth of this vertical, games like Big Time are needed. Why? Because the main objective of a game is to entertain people. They have been existing for decades now, video games. And the sole purpose of it is to entertain people. And right now, it's one of the largest industries in the world, 300 billion revenues per year, expected by 2025. So there is value in the entertainment industry. And to get that, of course, you need to produce entertaining games. So if Web3 games want to achieve that status that currently traditional gaming industry has, one of the largest industries in the world, we need to definitely focus on the entertainment factor rather than the mining. That, as you've mentioned, Fabrizio, it's not sustainable, not even in the short term, way less in the long term. So I mean, but at the same time, it's valid to have different perspectives, and it's valid people want to just invest in a game.
Nico, what do you think by gamer point of view? I mean, you are coming from Web 2, right? Web 2, where
Yeah,
you are
I mean,
traditional.
I guess every gamer's dream would be to just like play half day and being able to gain enough income to pass by, right, and not having to deal with the usual work dynamics. I guess play to earn in general. I don't believe is going to disappear. Just going to become a niche, right? And more for like sort of like esports. There's going to be like games who are going to focus on that, and of course target a specific segment of earnings first player. And I hope for Ethan that he's going to find one. But then, yeah, as Pedro was saying, let's say for the sake of the larger ecosystem, we need to start distinguishing play to earn from actually like gaming experiences, and of course targeting different segments, right, of gamers. Of course there are games that target both sides, right? It can be like a free to play version, or somebody will, or let's say a version that's it's more focused on earning. It's totally up to game devs. But then again, yeah, for the sake of the ecosystem at large, we need to sort of clean out and go back to the origins, to the roots, and build great experiences, and of course enable gamers to live even more the experience. What if in the metaverse, again, like in 4 or 5 hours playing in a day, instead of extracting value from a game, right, as a game design, I actually like create value to the game, and at the same time, like earn some income, whatever that means, whether it's like a couple of hundred of dollars or thousands of dollars, right? And in any case, let's consider that 2/3 of gamers are from emerging economies, right? So it might be a really different conversation if you're actually talking to like Western players, to actually like Asian players who are, just like jumped on the occasion, of course, blinded by the promises of game devs and unrealizable expectations. But again, I'm happy that finally game developers understood there's more at stake than just like short-term earnings, because again, all the play to earn games that are now, that have just sticked to the play to earn paradigm, have not done well especially during the bear market, and even now, the ones who were able to adapt or like completely changed, then they were able to survive and sort of like attract even more gamers. So it's going to be an important distinction in the future.
Yeah, I
think
agree
just
with
to
you. I think play to earn will be. Yeah, please, Matt.
I think just to address
You
one
want
of
to
the
share?
things based on his second comment about passive income, one of the things you can't see in the game
Yeah.
right now is how you can use space. And so if you were to buy something like the space, which is our land NFT, it's not a token, he can rent it to another user. And space is ultimately how you're going to be able to craft and make your own NFTs. So if he, I think it was Pedro was, hey, I don't really want to play the game. I just want somebody to play it for me, and I'd like ideally for them to make me $1 million a day. Well, I mean, we'll see. But the way to do that in big time, or the closest way to do it, would be to do something like space and then renting it to another player who can play with that, use the time wardens inside of it, and the forges and armories.
Yeah. Yeah, I also agree with Nicola. I think play to earn will be a niche geographically based. So for those countries that use, they want a passive income, just because, just as we saw in South Asia or Southeast Asia or South America, like with Axie Infinity. While play and earn will be more for European, US audience. And I agree with this view. So we have a last question for Matt. Uh, Okay. So, what layer are you built with? With regards to scalability and fees, will it be able to handle massive load of users?
So the game is actually primarily off chain, and that allows for kind of better speed, lower transaction fees, and honestly, like simplicity for a lot of users to access it. So, right, they don't, like we mentioned before, you don't need a wallet to play the game, you just need a Google account. So, can we handle a lot more users? Right now, we couldn't, but we will. As we onboard more users, we bring on more servers. And so that's really how we do it. So, we're in a period in our development in the alpha where we know how many users are playing, and so we've optimized the number of servers and their locations to make sure that they get uninterrupted and high quality access. As we bring on more users, we're going to bring in more servers. But that's why we're deliberately growing. In terms of the transaction amounts, so that one is also very stable inside of the marketplace. There's kind of a 5% fixed rate in-game transaction fee between player to player, but that's about it. That's relatively small, and it's stable as well, so people don't have to worry about trying to time their gas fees or something like that.
Okay.
But
Great.
the assets are on Ethereum, right?
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah.
They're most of the assets for example, that you can see on OpenSea are on Ethereum as well. Yep.
Okay, perfect, guys. We are 40 minutes AMA. If we don't have any other questions, I think we are done for today. So, Matt, thank you for your presence today for this AMA. Thank you, Nico, and your community. Thanks, Pedro and DappRadar community. So, I think we should. Okay, we can choose. Please, guys, choose one question each from our audience, so we can give.
Honestly, I would give one Ruby Pass to Ethan so that he can feel what it means to actually
Yeah, I was
play
gonna
the
say.
actual
So,
game.
Ethan, you wanna pass? So please send us on our Twitter, send your email, and so we will forward email to Big Time, so they will send you the pass. So, what about you, Pedro?
I like the interoperability question, to be honest, but I agree that with Nico. Like,
Yeah, we have three pass. So yeah,
okay, so for me, the interoperability question, I like it.
what's the name of the guy? on the interoperability question?
Dutify, I think.
Okay,
Dutify, yeah.
So what about you, Matt? Choose one. Pick the question.
I mean, I think I have to give it to my man Pedro. He's got to try it to understand the difference here. So if he's still listening in, Pedro's got to do it. Yeah.
One pass
Yes.
left, so you can choose another question.
I'm getting a little bit older in my and a little bit more senile. I can't remember all of the usernames.
Okay, I will read the question for you. Food Zero asks, could you discuss more on the how Big Time Studio is approaching interoperable asset standard for Metaverse? And the Crypto Wagadu, what is the story of the game? Hero keeps running and killing is saving anybody or kind of revenge action? Pick one.
Can I give them to both? Is that all right? They were good questions. Both of them, I thought.
Yeah, you have to give us
I
one more Ruby pass because you already assigned
can do
two.
that. I can do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, guys,
Give them to both.
will
Yeah.
go. So Crypto Wagadu, FAT 0.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Make it
They were
rain.
both good questions. Yeah, make it rain.
Do perfect. Any more questions? No, because questions are closed. Yeah, Taufik, you arrived late. Sorry. Okay, guys. So, Ethon, Judify, Fat Zero, and Crypto Wagadu, please share your email send a message to a DM in Twitter, on Twitter, so with your email, and we will forward your email to Big Time, and they will send you the pass.
And your username as well. It's case
Yeah,
sensitive.
username as well.
Yeah. We'll get you in there.
Okay, guys. I think we are done for today, and let's keep in touch. Maybe we can have another email next week, next month.
I think
Absolutely.
Ethan
As
is
we have more
asking for,
information for sure.
yeah,
Okay.
Ethan is asking for your Discord, Fabrizio. So he really wants that Ruby pass. So just
Can you repeat, please? Didn't get it.
just Ethan, I just asked you for your Discord contact, so he can contact you there.
Okay. Yeah. Of course. Okay.
Cool. It was a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for
Thank you
inviting
so
me
much.
to
You
the
too.
discussion.
Yeah,
It was
thanks
a
for the
pleasure.
invite.
Thank you.
Until next time, I guess.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye bye.
Hey. Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye, man.